Dumelang, my name is Mudiga and welcome back. Today we're going to be discussing factors to consider when you want to start a vegetable farm or when you want to get into vegetable production. This is for somebody that is or was in a different industry and wants to jump into the agricultural industry. I think these things are things that you need to consider. However, it's not limited to them, but it will definitely try and sway you into the right direction, right? So firstly, what you want to consider is why you're doing it. Why do you want to get into the farm? Agriculture has showed us that it can be volatile and it can be very technical, but at the same time it's very sustainable and tenacious, because throughout the whole COVID period or pandemic period, we've seen how it has actually remained standing, right? A lot of things have happened, people have lost their jobs and things like that, but when it was time to take out level 5 certifications or authorizations to work around, the agricultural space was the first one, because everybody every day needs food, right? So you sort of kind of need to establish why you want to get into it, because it has its ups and downs. There's going to be times where you don't know where your next profit is going to come from, but it's the why, the reason that you're there, that keeps you going even when you're down in the valley, right? It keeps you going. It's things that will continuously help you to sort of kind of still stay stuck to your true north, right? So firstly, it's know your why. It's so important for you to know why you're doing it, because that will still keep you in the game when things hit the fan. Because things really do. I mean, when it rains it pours, and you still want to know why you're doing it, right? Secondly, you need to identify where within the rank you actually fall into. So I've actually categorized it into different categories, but obviously this is not like a formal standard way. But there's commercial, there's semi-commercial, there's emerging, and then there's subsistence, and then there's hobby, right? If I am doing agriculture or if I am doing vegetable production as a hobby, then you must know that if I don't have money, I am not going to force myself to buy any inputs to start with. It's a hobby. So I'm gonna wait for Dumelang or somebody else to come and give me seed, and then I'm gonna plant it every now and then. And it's not going to happen every production cycle throughout the year. It's just going to happen whenever I feel like it, right? For you now, if you, for instance, want to say you want to be a commercial farmer, you need to, like, within the ranks, within the different ranks, where is it do you actually want to be? Because it's so important, and it will help you to realize whether certain requirements, certain certifications are important for you specifically as an individual, and not based on, okay, this farmer has it, so I need to have it. Sometimes you don't want, you want global gap, but it's not going to serve you in any way, right? Because you don't want it, right? So when you decide which rank you want to be in, then it's very easy for you to know, okay, this is relevant to me, that's not relevant to me. This is relevant to me, that's not relevant to me, right? So if, for instance, I want to be a subsistence farmer, I don't need 100 hectares. Subsistence means I'm just planting the food so that I can eat with my family, and that's it. So just decide where within the ranks you want to be, and then know, okay, this is my lane. I'm gonna stick to my lane. And this is not my lane. I'm not going to stick to my lane, right? So that's number 2. Number 3, the reason why number 2 is so important is because it flows into number 3. Number 3 is the land issue. Now, if you are somebody that acquired the land, then that's probably, this factor might not probably speak to you. However, if you are somebody that went out and started searching for land, then these factors are things that you need to consider. Number 1, when you are looking for land and you have categorized yourself as a commercial farmer, meaning you want something that's a little bit bigger, you're looking for 100, 200 hectares or even 1,000 hectares of land, you now need to look for land in an area where the expansion is going to be possible. If you go out looking for land within a residential area, it might not be possible in the next 5 to 10 years for you to expand your land, right? But if you are looking for land if you are like, so for instance, an emerging farmer, you just want to work on your 5 hectares and you never want to expand. You're just going to put your tunnels in there. You're going to do hydroponics, and you're going to do high value cash crops. Then you don't need to be searching for land in an isolated area. You can actually do it within a residential area. It doesn't matter, because you're not going to look for expansion in the next coming 10 years, right? So that's the first thing that you need to consider when it comes to land. Secondly, what you need to consider when it comes to land is it is a bonus if it already has the infrastructure, right? So if it was previously a farm, then it's okay for you. It's better for you, because you don't need to come and pump in a lot of money to be building tunnels, to be building pipes, to be doing fencing, to be doing housing, offices, toilets, bathrooms, showers, things like that. So you don't need to build it, because it's already established already. But if you are looking for land and you don't get that particular infrastructure, then you need to consider things like, how far is it from civilization? Okay, because this is going to factor in. The technical term that they would use is close proximity to market. So you want a space, or you want a portion of land that is probably, realistically speaking, not more than 100 kilometers away from your market that you're producing for. Because at the end of the day, logistics for like transportation fees are going to factor in. The further you go away from people, the more transportation fees are going to factor in, whether towards you or towards your customers. But if it's towards your customers, then it means that you are not the first guy that they think of, right? So you want to consider that too. Also, when you're considering land, also consider that you need water, right? Especially if you're doing vegetable production, you need water. So it would be great if you had a water source next to you. Maybe you had like a river or a dam or something, but it's not always the case, right? So what you're looking for now is maybe if you can get somebody to drill your water. That's the fees, that's the costs that goes into starting. Electricity, how are you going to get electricity to be pulled up to your place, right? These things always factor in, right? Especially when you're looking for land. So be careful when you go and look for land, and for instance it's virgin land. You're gonna need to debush, you're gonna need fencing, you're gonna need boreholes, you're gonna need all these things that you're gonna need. They are different, but you're gonna need them. So you need to consider that whenever you're thinking of land. So now that you've actually categorized yourself and said, okay, I'm an emerging farmer, then you know, okay, if I'm an emerging farmer, I just want to be my 100 hectares, I'm fine. Even if you get 100 hectares within residential, it's no biggie. You can take it, right? Because you're not planning on expanding anytime soon. Plus, you're still learning. You're still new to the game. So you now don't need 3,000 hectares if you haven't mastered what it is to work on 1 hectare. So step by step, you need to take all these things step by step and be patient with yourself as well, right? So that's number 3. Number 4, it's identify and research your market. This has to be the golden rule. This has to be the golden rule. This is something that I'm going to preach whenever we talk about vegetable production and we get serious about it. Firstly, the golden rule is vegetable production, or any type of farming production, it starts and ends at the market. It starts at the market by you identifying which market you're going to produce for, and it ends at the market by you producing for that particular market that you've identified, right? You do not produce and then after producing and then you decide, okay, where should I go sell? That's a disaster. What you need to do is you need to produce and then go sell to the people. You produce to sell. You don't produce and sell. Don't do that. It's going to kill you and stroke. You're going to be left with 30,000 cabbage heads on 1 hectare with nowhere to take them. So please, guys, it's cute for pictures, it's cute for Instagram for you to be producing at such a value, but be consistent, okay? Be like realistic, be practical. If I am producing these cabbage heads, where are they going to end up, right? part of you doing market research also entails, okay, how far is the market from where my farm is? What kind of produce do they want? What do they usually price it at? You doing market research is also you doing research on the area that you're in. What are the farmers producing in my area, right? And if there are particular crops that they're producing, why are they producing only those crops and not other crops, right? And also, which crops are succeeding under my climate, under the area that I'm in. But that is going to factor in when you do market research, right? So if you guys, I'm gonna talk fast because this is something that I'm really passionate about. So if you guys feel that you want me to elaborate and just make one video based on one point, then I'm more than willing to do that. So you can just give me a shout and we can do that. But so far, guys, please, market research. Stick to your lane. Know your lane and stick to it. Okay, stick to it. Do your research as well. Okay, so I don't even know where I am right now, but yeah. The next one is map out a production cost. Okay, so mapping out a production cost is simple, right? Whenever you go out on a date with a girl, what you want to do is you want to map out the production cost for that night, for that date night, right? That's basically what it means. What we mean to say is, if you're going to be producing cabbage, know that, okay, I'm producing cabbage on a hectare. The cabbage might cost me plus minus 50 to 60,000 input costs, right? So that's my labor, my fertilizer, my seed, my chemical, everything that goes into actually putting the product on the ground up until harvesting, right? So you need to put it up. You need to draw it up so that you're realistic with yourself. So that you don't go and start planting cabbage with 5,000 rands, because it's going to come time for you to spray those things and you're not going to be able to spray them because you don't have the money. So it's more of a realistic thing. When you go out on a date with a girl, as I said, you try and map it out and say, okay, a movie's gonna cost me this. She's gonna want to be Ubered. It's gonna cost me this. She's gonna want popcorns. Maybe if she somehow she wants an expensive meal, this is the expensive meal that I have. So before I go out with Dumelang, I need to have plus minus 2,500 rands, right? So you sort of kind of have that, so that even when Dumelang says, I don't feel like watching a movie, I want to go to whatever, then you know that you have the budget for it, right? So you want to sort of it's like a prevention is better than cure type of situation. There's no way for you to avoid it. Please prevent, okay? Do your production cost before you do everything else. So important, guys, so important. Okay, the next one is have a general production knowledge. What we mean by that is, I don't know what they call it, but mama it's like that, okay? Like have some type of production knowledge. Have an idea of what harvesting looks like and how long it takes. Have an idea of what reading is. Have an idea of what scouting is. Don't set unrealistic, unattainable goals for your laborers, right? You want to get to a point where you're like, okay, Dumelang team, today I need this one, and this one to go on that 1 hectare and go and read. I know it is possible because 3 people can actually read a 1 hectare, right? So you sort of kind of have a clue of what the work is, how much labor it actually costs, and then you can actually put like a time frame for it as well. So you want that, right? Yeah, and you're able to also know if the people that you're working on the farm with are slagging, or they're actually like good performers and they actually do good at their work, right? So have some general idea of what certain activities are, just like a basic production practices. Just know them, know how long they take, know how hard it is, during peak seasons like harvesting, during rainy seasons where there's gonna be a lot of reading. Know all these little factors, and then you can be able to like set goals or set like tasks for your workers to do on the farm, right? Because at the end of the day, when you want to get into it, I presume that you just want to own it, right? You don't particularly mean that you're going to work on it, but if you are, it's still okay. It's great. Except grading, I hated grading. I can do anything. I can do anything. I can even go out in the sun and read for the whole day. Guys, I hated grading and sorting. I hated it. Oh my gosh, I think I still do. Man. So the next one is register your business. It's so important for you to register your business, because at the end of the day, even when you want to start and to get into farming, you are saying that I want to get into a certain type of business, right? And it makes things like funding opportunities very easy for you because you have the proper documentation. So register your business. I don't care what you call it, whether you call it DKL, MDC, PKQ, XQV, I don't care. Go register your business, have the proper documentation, so that whenever somebody wants to give you a chance, whenever an investor comes at you and says, listen, I see your passion, I want to invest in you, then you know you have the proper documentation. But don't, I repeat, don't sit there, start your farm and you don't have it registered. It's going to pull you back. It really is going to pull you back opportunity wise. So please, if this is number one, go do it at number one. No, number one is market, go do it at number two. Number one is market, go do market research. What kind of quality does your market want? The size of the produce that they want per week, or how many times a month do they want it. So yeah, just do that, and then register your business, have a name for your business, have the proper documentation, and then you're good to go. Then the other steps, you can just take them one day at a time. Okay. And then what else is there? Infrastructure. Right, so this is somebody that's starting, right, and you didn't find anything on your farm. In terms of infrastructure, what you need is, you don't need like a double-story building just to start, but just be realistic, okay? You're going to need bathrooms. You're going to need showers because your employees are going to spray, right? So they need to take a shower by law, safety-wise. They need to take a shower so that the chemicals that probably ended up on their skin is not harmful to them, right? So you want to keep that, right? And then last but not least for this video is find a mentor, find a community, find somebody that is already where you are, so that even when you do and the going gets tough, it's easy for you to have somebody to fall back on. Sometimes I've heard so many stories of farmers that were not doing well, but they had mentors, and the mentor was like, you know what, I just got chemical, let me give you chemical. You know, I just bought seeds, let me give you half my seeds. You know, I just bought this, let me give you this. So you need certain people like that will always be there to vouch for you, that will always be there to pick you up, and that will keep you going, because at the end of the day, no man is an island, right? Just because you have your workers and you have people that you work with on the farm does not necessarily mean they particularly understand your situations, right? Most often than not, actually, so find yourself a mentor, find yourself somebody that you can also confide in, find yourself somebody that can ask questions in terms of I don't know how to do this, employment contracts, things like that. You're going to learn how to do that. Financial records, production cycles every year. How do you do that? Spraying programs, chemical fertilizer programs. So you need somebody that knows the ropes and has been there and is above you. When I say community, go find people that are above you. Okay? Don't find people you know, two people can't walk together. They will fall in a ditch. Okay? So find you somebody that has been there, that is above you and is able to teach you. And it might sound like a selfish relationship, but you need that because you need to learn and you need to get into it. All right, so that was my last point for this section. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you can give me part of your feedback. Actually, let me know how you think, let me know what you think about what we've discussed. Let me know if you need any more elaborations on it, and also elaboration. Does that word exist? Yeah, let me know. Anyway, let me know, and do like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I will do another video for a person that wants to commercialize, steps that they can take into going through that route, but also I can actually elaborate because there's so many points to actually consider when you're getting into it and you're getting into that space. Also, just the bonus point, guys, if you want to get into farming, if you want to get into vegetable farming, all the things, you need to fully immerse yourself in it. So you need to get magazines that talk about it. You need to get you listen to podcasts that talk about it. You need to listen to videos that talk about it. My video that talk about it. You need to listen to you need to fully immerse yourself in that space, right? Because then it becomes easy. It gets into your bloodstream and it becomes a part of you. So if you want to get into it, take the necessary steps, because most of the time when you go out and you want a mentor, the mentor will say, have you done your research? What do you know? Because they're trying to gauge as to, if you do say you want this, then there's a level of knowledge that you must at least have, right, about it. So know the industry as well. Know how South Africa does agriculture. Know how Africa does agriculture. Know how the globe, the entire world does agriculture. And then come back and say, listen, I know this and this and this and this and this. And then one can say, okay, I know you're at this level, so you and I don't have to discuss this. Now I can so much just move you up there. So it becomes easier for everybody. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in another video. Thank you.